I don't know how Disney didn't get the rights to it, to the Baha Men.
So this is kind of like the behind-the-scenes like conspiracy about this movie with the Baha Men. What happened between 102 Dalmatians? Well, more so than that, what happened with 101 Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians, and the relationship with them and the Baha Men?
And how is Disney involved?
How is Disney involved? And please find this answer for us. And we are here again, and we are back again. As always, I'm Matt.
I'm Drew.
And this is the Back Again podcast, where we talk about sequels from the past and see if they need to exist and, other stuff. Today is a little bit of a different episode because we are continuing on our list of Disney animated sequels. But we kind of...
Let's say what happened. We got burned the last couple of times.
Yeah.
All right, so the last couple of movies that we reviewed were actually just TV shows in disguise. And we were sick of that happening, and so we made sure that the next time we did this, at least the immediate next time, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, so we were originally going to do the follow-up to 101 Dalmatians, the animated original from 1961.
Which is 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure.
Yeah, and out of fear of being burned again, we just decided to not watch this movie. We saw like the 1 hour, 17 minutes on it, and we were like, I don't think this is going to be good. So
Got flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly. So as an alternative, we decided to continue to watch a sequel to 101 Dalmatians, but we chose the 2000 live action version.
102 Dalmatians.
Starring Glenn Close. And
still technically a sequel.
And in hindsight, it was probably better if we watched the actual animated one because...
It's hard to say.
Well, here's the easy thing. I believe that 102 Dalmatians from 2000 has a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure, has a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which, to be fair, that's only based off of like 6 reviews, and none of them are actually good. But we'll say, maybe for this one, we'll use the audience score, which is a 41.
So I guess we're going to do this. We can just jump into it, and we'll kind of make it a little quick. So what's weird about this sequel is that it's not actually about like the Dalmatians, more so as it is about Cruella de Vil and her mental status. So really the plot to this movie is about Cruella de Vil, once again played by Glenn Close, getting out of an insane asylum like prison, and she's had therapy done to her where she no longer hates Dalmatians. This is, of course, the repercussions of the actions in the first movie. So with this sequel, really, this is kind of a whole new material because they're going to focus on Cruella de Vil. They're going to tell kind of a new story. So this isn't exactly a copy of the animated sequel, the one that we didn't watch. This is kind of on its own story now. Like we're kind of going.
I would argue that this is more of a true sequel because we're dealing directly with a more prominent character, which would be the villain, the antagonist. Whereas in Patch's London Adventure, I read a brief synopsis. We're dealing with that dog character that was on the TV that they were watching for a little bit there, and Patch, who was one of the puppies.
And what's also different about this sequel is that none of the cast besides Glenn Close really returns.
Oh, Alonzo also comes back. He's the valet. He's from the first one.
Okay. So besides the two of them coming back, no one else comes back from the original cast. And even the dogs, for like the only Dalmatian that's in this one now is like a grown-up version of a baby one from the first one.
Exactly, it's just one of the puppies.
What was his name? What was the name of the dog? That's kind of the main dog from the first one.
I want to say it was.
It's actually Dipstick.
Okay.
So after they release Cruella de Vil from prison therapy because they think that the therapy worked.
They don't release her. She's on parole.
Okay, she's on parole, and she's got a parole officer, and the parole officer is a woman who actually adopted one of the puppies from the first one, Dipstick. And now, that puppy now has puppies and stuff. So at the same time, while this is happening, we also introduce the male character, which is played by...
Ian Grufford.
Yeah. So he has a dog...
Sorry if I butchered that.
Yeah, so he has a dog shelter, and he's basically, he's interested in dating the woman parole officer.
No. He has his own motivations. His motivation at the beginning is purely, I believe that the adoption place or the home for the animals is called Second Chance. And his primary motivation is to just be looking after these animals.
Yeah, and what Cruella de Vil's plan is to prove that she has changed. She is kind of cleaning all his dogs for him. She's grooming them. She's sprucing up the place.
Well, the big thing too is she's paying because the second chance shelter is short on rent. So she is paying the rent so that they can, or she's buying the property actually.
Yeah, and she's doing all this because if she doesn't change her ways, then the next time something happens, all her money is going to go to a dog shelter. And I believe it's the dog shelter from the first one, which is like the
It's like a fun setup for the dogs that I think are all spread up now, or kind of spread up. They really just gloss over it.
yeah, it's something like that. So then what happens?
She's making nice.
Yeah, she's making nice, and everything seems to be okay. But then there's this one day at the parole office where we also get some stuff right before that scene about how all the patients...
There's such a shoehorned in scene that we keep forgetting, and I think you even like might have missed it completely. But it goes back to I think it's Dr. Pavlov, which is a reference, psychological reference, who is the one who's in charge of the therapy that fixed Krella.
Mm-hmm.
They find out that it is essentially undone by loud noises, and that's the purpose of that scene.
So now we have kind of our 30-minute mark, which is what our movies kind of be about, and it all takes place in a parole office, and you have all the Dalmatians besides one Dalmatian, which is Spotless. That's kind of like our main character.
Oddball.
Yeah, Oddball. The spots haven't grown yet. They get into a bunch of like really like dangerous, Tom Cruise like roof stuff, and then while this is happening, a bell starts ringing because the window's open.
Not just any bell, it's Big Ben.
Big Ben. And Corella gets hit by it a bunch of times, and her hair springs out, and then she basically turns back into old Cruella de Vil. And
that was a fun sequence.
No, yeah, I mean, it's fun, but like then that's our movie. The movie is about her trying to get some Dalmatians again so she can skin them and wear them, which is always fun.
The whole thing is, yes, it's the classic vengeance.
It's the classic skin job movie. It's basically the Blade Runner of the puppy world.
Well, I was going to say, it's almost very similar to we keep going back to Little Mermaid 2, or at least I do. Jeez. But just like the villain's main plot is just the exact same thing. And it's just the whole gimmick is that it's just vengeance driven. And it's like,
Yeah, so Corella's evil now, and then to be honest, like this is like Act 2 stuff, I guess. What else happens in Act 2?
Well, what I wanted to bring up was during that we have the animals watching TV, and that brought up a very interesting conversation about how conscious these animals are.
Oh yeah, I mean it's really scary how, to some degree, how much they're able to move. I mean you can imagine Offset someone just kind of yelling at the animals to get in all those cute positions. But yeah, it's a little terrifying how well they are able to operate. And I guess I can also bring up the parrot that talks in complete sentences, and he's very intelligent, and that's kind of like
all of the animals have a surprising amount of consciousness that if it was in the real world would be very unsettling.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what that was the purpose of that scene, at least as far as I could tell. But I think Lady and the Tramp was playing in the background, so it probably other stuff going on.
I don't even care about that. What else happens in Act 2?
Well, it was the thing I wanted to bring up, which is Cruella de Vil essentially reveals her plan now that she's evil. She's going to go back on her vengeance streak, and she's going to get all of the Dalmatians. I don't know if she's going to get the exact same Dalmatians, but she's definitely going to make the same coat that she was going to make from the first movie.
Yeah, so she goes to get like a henchman that's going to help her.
Alonzo, right?
Alonzo.
Or no. That's not a henchman. That's a Skinner. She gets another thug.
So she goes to a fashion show to get this guy that's going to help her skin animals. And then she also has a plan to get rid of Mr. Fantastic so she can claim all his animals by framing him of like stealing Dalmatians or something. So now she's got like a way to get the animals, and now she's got like the guy that can do the skinning. So now she can like have this kind of big operation. You know my favorite line between the two of them?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, listen, I might be a Skinner, but I'm no stealer.
Oh yeah, they
I might skin live animals, but I don't steal stuff. I'm not a monster.
They do some fun moral jumping around in this movie.
Oh, there's that line, and then there was also when Glenn Close is like, "Isn't it great getting away with murder?" And she's like laughing.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. Is at the very least, the villain is fun. She has her plan.
Yeah,
she sticks to it. She gets her thugs.
To murder. I like it when my murderers like to murder.
She has her plans to keep. She doesn't go after the protagonists, the humans. But her ultimate plan is, like I said, to make the same coat, and the little dash of vengeance on top that I like, the cherry on the revenge sundae, is. She's going to make it out of 102 Dalmatians, and the whole gimmick is she's gonna add a hood to it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
And I
definitely adding a hood.
and that goes back to what I was saying, where it's like they're just doing the same plan and just making it about vengeance. But at least in this one, there's a sense of awareness and they're having some fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, to wrap things up, they pretty much like just we get a little dog that's by a speaker and he barks into the speaker. So then Dipstick hears it and he, runs after, to save Dalmatians and stuff. And then the humans show up at some point and they see the Dalmatians. And then the Dalmatians are escaping while Glenn Close is trying to like kill the Dalmatians. And then there's like a final battle between like the spotless Dalmatian and Glenn Close. And she's like on a thing, like walking real like bad with her shoes and stuff. And then like she gets turned into a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little old cake. She gets turned into a cake, and then all the dogs, the intelligent dogs, like put sprinkles and squirts and stuff on her. And I believe happily ever after, she gets arrested. But right before she gets arrested, just to go back really quick, right before she gets arrested, and she's being arrested, like she's in the handcuffs. But she says something like, someone's like, "How are we going to get out of this?" And she's like, "Piece of cake." And then she gets taken away, and then our movie ends. And that's pretty much the movie. Before we rank it, like I'll just say that, some things that it does okay is that mostly Glenn Close. She pretty much carries the movie. She turns into a cake.
I would say, yeah, especially in the third act, she does a good job of just kind of like making it fun and keeping it. Because I don't know, that was definitely the point that kept my attention the most.
Yeah, she turns into a cake. That's fun.
The slapstick, yeah, it's all fun.
Yeah, and I like the bong scene with like the Big Ben, where her hair's popping out, and then when she's like, turning into Cruella de Vil again, So besides that, though,
the visual humor is surprisingly, I don't know. It might just be because I haven't exposed myself to that kind of humor in a long time.
Yeah, you don't watch a lot of 2000 Disney films.
Yeah, it's the I don't know if that would technically be slapstick, but that humor was very refreshing. I felt like, especially because I feel like no one does that nowadays.
That's some refreshing humor.
I
I guess it's kind of cool that they decided to like try to tell like a new story, even though they really didn't. But they started to go down a road of just like her mental state, which if you just kind of kept with that and made an arc, but they just made her evil again and want to do the same thing. So, she's twirling her mustache at the end when she's saying like piece of cake.
They know that they can get away with that with a powerhouse like Glenn Close backing it though.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
She's a brick house.
There's no need to reinvent the wheel with a movie like this.
No.
Stick with what works. Your villain.
I got a lot of Dr. Dolittle vibes from this movie, just with how much the animals communicate with the humans. Like they're able to watch
I was thinking
TV.
like Dogs versus Cats. You remember that movie?
Yeah, they're intelligent. They're able to watch TV.
Well, yeah,
they're
but
able
also
to...
just like how they would shoot those movies with like practical animals on set with these like human actors, and it would be like that would be the gimmick of the movie. Is that these animals are acting with these humans.
There's a couple moments where they use a CGI puppy that I was like, oh, hey, that's CGI actually. So that was kind of cool to see.
I feel like they did a lot of subtle CGI in this that actually looks pretty good.
I really don't have anything else to say about this movie.
I like that Eric Idle's in it. I don't have anything else to say about it, but
okay.
I thought that's cool.
Shout out to Eric Idle.
So
as always on this podcast, we ask 3 questions, then lead to an ultimate question. But the first question is, does it work as a sequel? And I think it does work as a sequel. And I'm going to be really weird about this because we've had so many stinkers lately that don't work. Whereas if all you get out of this is a great Glenn Close performance and, just some like, I guess really that's it, just Glenn Close. That's the only reason why it works as a sequel for me.
That's actually not a bad argument. It's simple, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Does it work as a sequel? I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I think especially when this is something that I feel like is just diving way too deep into it, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. But when you think about how much not how much impact, but how much emotional resonance is spent with the animals or invested with the animals in the first 101 Dalmatians, which still resonates with me in certain scenes. And then you go to this sequel where there is no emotional resonance with the animals because the animals are all dead-eyed. So for me, that is why it doesn't work as a sequel.
Okay.
If it worked as a sequel, we would still have that emotional resonance with the animals. And I know that the argument's going to be, well, it's live action. There's so much you can do in 2000 to really, it's still like you can look at The Lion King. They've got the real animals there, and there's still no emotional connection really because
Ooh, you're just going into the Lion King right now. Just going after Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau is objectively one of the most successful directors.
I know. I
in
think
history.
He's great. This is actually that's our Shyamalan twist to this conversation about Jon Favreau. We love Jon Favreau.
Well, that's the thing is, I'm not going to say that I love him, but like it's no argument. That
we like Jon Favreau.
I like him.
Yeah,
he's great.
So the second question is it enjoyable / entertaining? I'm going to say that only half the movie is enjoyable, and that's only the scenes with Glenn Close. So for that reason, it gets an X. It's not enjoyable. Only half of it is enjoyable. And I'm more of a bottom half kind of guy than a top half kind of guy in regards to my water and my sequels.
That's actually interesting because I would give this a check. I would say this is enjoyable because of Glenn Close. I guess I'm the opposite. I would say I'm a top half kind of guy, or whatever the alternate to your metaphor was.
Well, like
glass half full. I don't know.
So, for me, it's like you can watch it as a movie. That's why it works as a sequel, but you're only going to be half entertained by it. So that's why it's like an X. That's why it's like a check, but an X.
That's the same for me. I just reversed them.
Yeah, no. So we got a tie so far with this. All right. So the third question is, does it need to exist? And I think this is an important question because it's the emphasis on need.
Are you going first or am I going first?
Whatever you want to do, cowboy.
Something like this needs to exist. Something 102 Dalmatians adjacent needs to exist. And what's interesting is I was doing some research while we were watching this, and it turns out that there is, I think, done, or at least in production, a prequel to, I believe, this film series, the live-action 101 Dalmatians film series, called Cruella, starring Emma Stone.
It's great casting.
Great casting, yeah. And what I would say is that I think a movie like that needs to exist. I think as long as it's like half decent on its premise alone, I'm already essentially sold. But a sequel like this that doesn't build on a character like Cruella, it just copies, and that's all it's adding to the canon, the 101 Dalmatians canon. I don't think it needs to exist. But if you're doing something like a prequel, going back and exploring that character in more depth and doing it half decently, something like that I think has merit, and I would argue that does need to exist. But for this movie, it's an X.
Okay, so because you kind of started with like a check mark there, and then you kind of went to an X, and you went back to a check mark.
I know. Well,
so now you're an X.
That's the thing is, I'm arguing that for the prequel for Cruella, not for this movie.
Okay, so the question for this movie though is...
So this movie's an X.
Okay.
Because it's an interesting question. I think additional material should exist because there are, from the original animated movie, there is enough interesting content for more stuff. But as far as this sequel goes, no, it's not adding enough.
So then I'm going to do something that's going to kind of blow your mind. Is based on your argument that I'm going to say it needs to exist. Because without a kind of almost a failed attempt at this, of seeing where else you could do with the character potentially, you don't get your prequel in which that you want to exist. So
I fundamentally disagree with that, but I don't want to argue about that because that's not what this podcast is about.
So I'm gonna say, because I think there's value to it, you can expand on it. And after I watched the movie, I definitely had more ideas to where you could go with Cruella de Vil. So it does give you a taste of it, of what you would want better done. So for that,
it's just more of the same.
I know,
it's just
but
more of the same flavor.
For the first half of it, though, it gives you almost a potential taste. So I'll say
it's just a tease.
I'll say it needs to exist. Which means, if you're keeping track, that is 3 X's and 3 check marks. That is a first-time tie on this podcast.
Also, the highest ranking.
So this is a tiebreaker, which means that it doesn't get a check or an X. It goes into what we call sequel limbo. It's a new category we're introducing on this podcast, where if we come kind of at a split decision, it's like it's up for the people to decide at that point. So it goes into sequel limbo forever, and it just exists there. So you can watch it or not watch it. No recommendation, no not recommendation. We couldn't come to an agreement on it, so...
That's really underwhelming.
Yeah, it goes into limbo, I know.
Is that it?
So is there anything else you want to say about this movie?
Nothing that wouldn't just be opening like a can of worms.
We don't do that on this podcast.
I mean, yeah, it depends. Do you think we have enough content?
I think that's good enough. I think that's enough that people need to hear about 102 Dalmatians from 2000. And that's gonna be a wrap on 102 Dalmatians. Make sure you check out our other episodes so far. and stay tuned for the next Disney animated sequel. And yeah, anything else, Drew?
That's it.
All right. We'll see you next time.
That's a wrap.